If you are 65 or older, there is a very real chance the government owes you money every single year that you have never touched, hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars just sitting there because nobody ever bothered to tell you it was yours. Not a coupon, not a senior discount. Actual cash with your name on it, waiting on one phone call or one simple form. And here's the ugly truth. Nobody whose job it is to pay you that money is going to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, you qualify for more." There is no letter on your 65th birthday that shows up and says, "Congratulations. Here's everything you are entitled to now." The system pays out exactly what you ask for, and not $1 more. It quietly bets that you will never find out what you qualify for in the first place. Before you decide this is not for you, let me stop you. Because that split second right, there's where most people walk away from money that already belongs to them. Some of you are thinking, "I own my home, I have a decent pension." This is for people who are really struggling, not for me. You are wrong. I am going to show you which one of these 5 is worth the most to someone in your exact situation. Others are thinking the opposite. I live mostly on Social Security. Hey, this fancy stuff is for people with lawyers and accountants. You are wrong too. Everyone watching this qualifies for at least one of these 5, and most of you, if you actually go check, qualify for 2 or 3 at the same time. This video is general education, not personal financial or legal advice. Rules and income limits vary by state and change over time. Always confirm the details of your own situation with the offices I mentioned before you make decisions. Welcome to Retire Mentor, the place where we sit down, take a breath, and untangle the weird, confusing, sometimes unfair rules that shape retirement in America. If this helps you, hit subscribe, because the people who are supposed to explain these programs almost never do. I will, every week. Let me introduce you to Eleanor. Eleanor is 71. She is a widow living just outside Dayton, Ohio, in the same house she and her husband paid off years before he passed away. She worked as a school secretary for almost 30 years. Today it is Social Security and a small pension keeping the lights on. She is careful with money, always has been. She clips coupons, she checks every grocery receipt. She sits down every Sunday night and balances her checkbook by hand, the same way she has done for 50 years. She does not see herself as someone the government owes anything. She is the kind of person who says, "I have always managed on my own. I do not want to take something I am not supposed to have." And that very understandable pride was exactly what kept her from claiming more than $4,000 a year that was legally hers the whole time. Keep Eleanor in the back of your mind, because by the time we are done, you are going to see her numbers change. And if you follow along, your numbers might change too. Stay with me to the end, because number 5 on this list is worth more than the other 4 combined, and it might be the single easiest one here to claim. If you only act on one thing after watching, it is probably going to be that one. Let us start with something that is literally sitting on a form you already fill out every year and probably do not even look at closely, your tax return. Starting with the 2025 tax year, every American 65 or older qualifies for something called the senior bonus deduction. It is worth about $6,000. Here's the part people get wrong. It is not a replacement for your standard deduction. It sits right on top of it. If you are married and both of you are 65 or older, that is $6,000 each, $12,000 stacked directly on top of whatever you already get now. Right now, this deduction is set to run through the 2028 tax year, but the exact numbers and dates can change. So treat what I am saying as the big picture and check the current details when you file. The key idea is this: you get it whether you take the standard deduction or you itemize. If you are 65 or older and you otherwise qualify, this is supposed to show up on your return either way. It does start to phase out at higher incomes above roughly $75,000 for a single filer, around $150,000 for a married couple, but that still leaves the ordinary retiree living on a normal, modest income solidly in the zone. For that person, it is real money being knocked off what the government is allowed to tax. Who does this help most? The person doing taxes at the kitchen table late at night? Or the person handing a stack of papers to a tax preparer who is racing through return number 27 of the day? That is exactly where something new like this can quietly get skipped. Your move is simple. Next time your return is done, software or human pause before you sign. Look for the senior bonus deduction on the actual form. If you use tax software, make sure your date of birth is typed in correctly. That tiny detail is usually what triggers the deduction automatically. And if you already filed and realize it was not there, you are not stuck. In most cases, you can go back and file an amended return. You do not have to just shrug and move on. Now, number 2. This is where some of the biggest dollar amounts hide. Your property tax bill, if you own your home. In a lot of places, there are 3 separate breaks stacked on top of each other, and most homeowners have never properly claimed all 3. First, the homestead exemption. That one chops a piece off your home's assessed value before the county even starts doing the math on your tax bill. Second, a senior exemption that kicks in when you hit 65. This is often a completely separate application. The county almost never mails it to you out of the blue. You have to know to ask for it by name. Third, and this is quietly massive over time, the senior assessment freeze. When you file for it and qualify, the county locks your home's taxable value at whatever number it is that year. From that point forward, it does not matter how high the market price of your neighborhood climbs. Your property tax bill is based on that frozen number, as long as you still qualify and you stay in the home. Who does this help? The basic homestead exemption is a solid percentage break for modest income homeowners. But the freeze is the one that can be worth a small fortune to someone whose home has doubled or tripled in value over the years. Those are exactly the folks staring down the biggest increases if they never file that form. If you are renting, do not check out here. If your landlord pays the property tax, but every increase has a funny way of landing in your rent. When assessment freezes and senior exemptions get used across a neighborhood, rent increases often slow down too. You may not see the forms, but you live with the results. Your move. Call your county assessor's office this week. Do not just ask, do I get any discounts? Ask very specifically, is the homestead exemption on my property? Is the senior exemption on my property? Is the senior assessment freeze on my property? If any of those 3 are missing, ask what form you need, where to get it, and what the deadline is. Ask whether you can file for prior years. Make them walk you through it. That is their job. Number 3 is a bill plenty of people forget they are even paying because the money is gone before they ever see it. Your Medicare Part B premium. In 2026, that premium is a little over $200 a month. That is more than $2,400 a year, quietly pulled out of your Social Security check. Most people just accept it as the cost of being on Medicare. Almost nobody is told that, in many cases, there is a way to make that bill disappear. It is called a Medicare Savings Program. Different states have different flavors and income limits, but the idea is the same. If your income is under a certain line, your state steps in and pays your Medicare Part B premium for you. It's not discounts. It pays it. Gone. The more generous versions do not stop there. Depending on which program you qualify for, they can also wipe out most of your deductibles and copays. So it is not just the premium. It's the constant little bites every time you see a doctor or pick up care. Here's why this one gets under my skin. The income limits are often higher than people think. A lot of folks hear savings program and think, that sounds like something for people worse off than me. I probably make too much. Without ever seeing a chart or talking to anyone, they quietly cross themselves off the list. Please do not try to guess this one at your kitchen table. Let someone whose job it is to know the rules do the math. Who does this help most? Anyone whose main income is Social Security. For you, this can easily be the biggest raise you see all year. And it does not come from Congress. It comes from a form you fill out and a program you probably were not told about. Your move. Make one phone call to your local state health insurance assistance program, usually just called SHIP. It is free. This is literally what they are there for. Tell them you want to be screened for a Medicare Savings Program. While you are on the line, ask them to check whether you qualify for the program called Extra Help as well. That is the federal program that lowers what you pay for prescriptions under Medicare Part D. Very often, if you qualify for one, you get pulled into the other automatically. Number 4 is smaller in raw dollars, but it is still a bill you are allowed to stop paying in full, so it belongs on this list. There is a federal program called Lifeline. It takes about $9.25 off your phone or internet bill every month. In some states, there is an extra discount stacked on top. Over a year, that is, easily $100 or more, that does not need to walk out of your account. Then there is the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, usually shortened to LIHEAP. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program does not send you cash. Instead, it pays your utility company directly to bring your bill down. Sometimes it is a few $100s, sometimes closer to $1,000, depending on where you live and what you qualify for. Either way, that is real breathing room on your heating and cooling costs. And this is not just about staying warm in the winter. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program can help with cooling bills in the summer, too. For an older adult in a heat wave, that is not a luxury, that is safety. The catch is, the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program does not have bottomless funding. Each state gets a pot of money. When it is spent, that is it until the next cycle. If you wait until the first deep freeze to look into it, there is a good chance the money is already gone. Who does this help? Anyone on a fixed income whose utility bill seems to creep higher every single season? Your move. Pick up the phone and dial 211. In most places, that is a free helpline. When someone answers, tell them you want information about the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program for energy assistance and about Lifeline for phone or internet. Ask them to connect you to the right office or give you the correct number so you do not have to wander through websites and menus. Now, number 5, the big one. This one is worth more than all the others combined for the right person, and it is called Supplemental Security Income, or SSI. There are 2 checks you need to keep straight. One is Social Security, the retirement benefit you earned by working and paying into the system. The other is Supplemental Security Income, a separate federal payment for people 65 or older who are living on a low income with limited savings. Here's the expensive misunderstanding. People assume, I already get Social Security, so I cannot possibly get Supplemental Security Income as well. That is not how the rules work. Your Social Security check is modest. Supplemental Security Income can often sit on top of it. Getting one does not automatically kick you out of the other. In 2026, the maximum federal Supplemental Security Income payment for a single person is close to $1,000 a month. For a married couple, just under $1,500. If you already have Social Security coming in, your Supplemental Security Income payment is reduced by part of that amount, so you might not see the full maximum. But even a partial Supplemental Security Income check, stacked on top of what you already get, can be the difference between a month that barely works and a month where you can breathe. Yes, Supplemental Security Income looks at your resources and savings. That part is true. But here is what people get wrong. The home you actually live in generally does not count against you. Your main car usually does not count either. People look at their house or their car and quietly disqualify themselves without ever hearing the real rules from an actual Social Security worker. Who does this help? Anyone whose Social Security check alone is not quite stretching to the end of the month. And if we are being honest, that is a lot of people. Your move, apply directly through the Social Security Administration. You can start online, you can call, you can walk into an office, whatever's easiest. It does not cost anything to apply. Nobody legitimate will ever ask you to pay a fee to help you sign up for Supplemental Security Income. If someone wants money to get you approved, that is your signal to walk away. Let us put all 5 of these on the table for a second, because it hits differently when you see them together. The senior bonus deduction, roughly $700 to $1,400 a year in taxes you do not have to pay for most retirees. The property tax exemptions and the senior assessment freeze, over a decade in a home that has gone up in value. That can easily be several $1,000s, sometimes tens of thousands, in avoided property taxes. A. The Medicare Savings Program. More than $2,400 a year back in your pocket by wiping out your Medicare Part B premium. A Lifeline and the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program. Together, a few $100s a year in bills you no longer carry alone. And Supplemental Security Income. For the right person, close to $12,000 a year in extra income. With even a partial check adding up to serious money over 12 months. Add that up, and for a lot of people watching, we are not talking about pocket change. We are talking about the difference between a retirement where every month feels like a tight, anxious squeeze and one where you are not scared of the calendar anymore. Now let us go back to Eleanor. When we sat down and actually spread her situation out on the table, here's what we found. Her property only had the basic homestead exemption, no senior exemption, no senior assessment freeze on, a home that had nearly doubled in value since she bought it. She was paying her full Medicare Part B premium out of her Social Security check every single month. having never once heard the words Medicare Savings Program, and her longtime tax preparer, a kind man racing through dozens of returns every February, had never stopped to make sure the senior bonus deduction was even showing up on her return 2 years in a row. 3 separate leaks, all at the same time. 3 things she had every legal right to fix. Here is what changed. We filed the senior exemption and the senior assessment freeze with her county. We made 1 phone call to her local state health insurance assistance program office, got her Medicare Part B premium fully paid, and got her into the extra help program for her prescriptions in that same call. We filed 1 corrected tax return to capture the senior bonus deduction she had missed. Her daily life did not change. She did not move. She did not sell anything. She did not take on any new risk. The only thing that changed was how much of her own money was still sitting in her account at the end of the month. She was not gaming the system. She was not taking something she did not deserve. She was finally claiming what she had already earned over an entire working life of doing things right. So here is what I want you to do this week. If you need to, pause this video and grab a piece of paper. Write down these 5 calls. Number 1, your county assessor's office. Ask if the homestead exemption, the senior exemption, and the senior assessment freeze are on file for your property. Number 2, your local state health insurance assistance program office. Ask to be screened for a Medicare Savings Program and for the extra help program with prescriptions. Number 3, the 211 helpline. Ask about the low-income home energy assistance program for energy assistance and Lifeline for phone or internet. Number 4, the Social Security Administration. Ask whether you qualify for Supplemental Security Income on top of what you already receive. Number 5, whoever handles your taxes, whether that is you, a family member, or a preparer. Confirm that the senior bonus deduction is on your return. If it was missing in a recent year, ask about filing an amended return. If the thing holding you back is the thought, I cannot afford to pay someone to help me with this, hear me clearly, you do not have to. There are IRS-trained volunteers through the Tax Counseling for the Elderly program. There is AARP Tax Aid. They will sit down with you and help you file for free. They already know which senior credits and deductions to look for. That is it. A handful of phone calls, few forms. Standing between you and money that has been legally yours this whole time? If this opened your eyes even a little, do me one favor. Hit subscribe. I put out updates like this so the people who are supposed to tell you about these programs do not get too quietly stay silent. Share this with someone you know who is over 65, especially someone who is convinced. There is nothing left out there for me. There is a very good chance they are wrong, just like Eleanor was. And in the comments, tell me which of these 5 you had absolutely no idea existed until today. I read every single one. The program that surprises the most people becomes next week's video. And one last reminder, this is education, not personal advice. For your own situation, always double-check the specifics with your county assessor, your local state health insurance assistance program office, or the Social Security Administration before you make any big moves.